Blog Talk Radio.
God, you are great and you are worthy to be praised. We will praise you all our days. We are your students. Teach us your ways, word by word, page by page. In the Hebrew we say, Elohim, אתה גדול ואתה ראוי לשבחים. אנו נשבח אותך כל ימינו. אנחנו התלמידים שלך, ללמד אותנו את האמת שלך, מילה אחר מילה, דף אחר דף.
It's Talk One's Talk. Talmadim. I just wanna get the knowledge. Wonder how they got it. I see a different message in the pages and decided to get the understanding that the Father had prescribed them. I'm thinking that it's very concrete. Show us we will listen. Show us and we listen. We will listen. That they took can't change. Context is a must. Any artist can paint, contain your vision, trust. Moving the picture around like an auction, getting bucks off your often, cause you rush from a lost sense in your customs and your ways to the most high is appalling, yeah, that's us. And here's the reason, the cause of it's the gist. Who exactly we pleasing, the Father or the race? He set apart, Talmudim wrote his word perfectly, but we often want to change according to our own belief. All we gotta do is read, dig a little deep, learn a little Hebrew. Ha-ha, Lord Shabbat Abba, Elohim Aga. All praises to the Father for bringing our knowledge further indeed. I can't start from the beginning and read and make sure it's not preconceived, man.
Welcome to His Talk One's Talk, where our mission is and has been from the beginning to contextually read the scriptures from the understanding from the people that wrote it, letting go of preconceived notions and any doctrine that hasn't been consistent or doesn't line up. This show is without bias, with the goal to grow together as a family. The call-in number is 516-595-8238, and we are open to any questions or comments. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome to another His Talk One's Talk episode. And today we'll be going 1 Kings 13 through 15. We'd like to welcome everybody back. And if there's any people that's listening to it for the first time or listening online for the first time, we'd like to welcome you to our show where we go through the scriptures contextually, and we're trying to get a understanding that will give us the right way to understand this book. All right? And this is not a teaching format, but a learning as far as fellowship. I have both of the panel members, Shema and Yediyah. They'll be co-hosting today, and I'm going to let them do their opening statements. We'll start with Shema.
Shabbat Shalom, Mishpacha. Hope everyone is having a good start to their morning, good start to their day, depending on what part of the world you're in. I'm excited to get to this point of the show because it's about to get juicy. Contextually speaking, with the events and the stories taking place, and I'm just excited to see what these brothers have. I'm really excited to see what Brother Odex Dean has for chapter 13. Because he let us know quick he wanted 13. And it is some good stuff in 13. So I'm excited to see what these brothers have, and also excited to see if any of the those that's listening in have anything to add as well. That's it. Shalom.
All right, shalom to everybody. This is Brother YHWH. Blessed to be here in the land of the living, and I'm just ready to approach these scriptures and fellowship with everybody. I just want to thank everybody for tuning in.
All right, that was short and sweet. So I'm gonna explain how this thing goes, and this is for anybody that doesn't know. Of course, we're gonna go off with our points. You could press 1 at any time to get inside the queue. You'll have your question or comment. Try to make it quick, and then you press 1 to get out of the queue. Therefore, we know when you press 1 again that you want to get back into the queue. Press 1 at any time. We're pretty good at allowing, the whole time to be at a minimum. So if you have anything, or if you are in contact with any one of these brothers and you wanted to ask them a question and you don't want to have your voice heard, then you could do it that way. If you're on our GroupMe app, as far as the Talk Ones Talk, is it the Talk Ones Talk contextually? I think I'll be adding words. But it's on the GroupMe app. You can hit us up on the GroupMe. You can hit us up on our Facebook page. It's Talk Ones Talk. It's a group. You can hit us up on Odex Dean. It's OREKHDIYN. In the messenger, if you have a question, it's Shama Tamido, SHAMA, TALMIDO, and then you got Darrell McClutcher. And if you have questions, comments, and you don't want your voice to be heard, you can hit us on that avenue. Another thing, we have the YouTube page up, where we're putting the episodes up on the YouTube page. We encourage that you share these episodes. If you felt like it was a good episode and this, that, and the other, you can share it on any social media site and subscribe to the YouTube page. It's under the same. Everything is under the same name. Okay, so it's easy to find. I have an email that you can reach me at. It's OrekDean. It's OrekHDIYN at YHWH.com. I'm going to allow the other brothers to shoot out their emails if they feel comfortable. This is anything containing to the show. Questions, concerns, or stuff like that is just another way that you're able to contact us if you don't have social media. So if you brothers could just, shoot out your email or some type of contact information if they have some kind of questions or something and they might not have social media to contact you.
This is Shabbat Tanabido, and my email is Shama, SHAMA, TALMIDO at yahoo.com. It's normally spelled with the SH''MA, but on the email it's SHAMA. And that's my email.
All right, so it's the Brother YHWH. If you want to contact me pertaining anything doing with the show, or any of us for that matter, our actual group email is histalkonestalkradio@gmail.com. So all, lowercase, all, it's no abbreviated words. It's just his talk ones talk radio@gmail.com. And you can send an email to, like I said, either of us pertaining the show. As far as a personal email goes, I may have something for y'all in the following weeks. But right now, I'm trying to reestablish all my stuff because I had something occur. So whenever I get all that straightened out, then I will hook y'all up with that.
All right, thanks for that. I didn't even know we had a group email. So now I have it. Anyway, we're going to just go ahead and get the ball rolling because the chapters are pretty big. I got the first chapter. So I'm going to start with chapter 13. Where's my book at? Okay, here we go. And I did see some things in here. I mean, I'm pretty sure these brothers got some stuff too. Some of my stuff is small. Some of my stuff is a little bit bigger, I would say. So I wanted to give a little context. We're coming out from what we already know. For those that already know, David been, he's been dead. Solomon took over, and then Solomon, eventually didn't walk in the ways of the Most High. He died. And his son took over, and then you also had a split, between Judah and Israel, all right? And then in the previous chapter, you had people doing kind of what they wanted to do and kind of having their own little feast days and not walking in the ways of the Most High. Just generally summing it up. Like I said, we do have this episode on YouTube, or you can find it in this blog talk, as far as not the last show, the show before that. Last show was a rest show. All right, so now we go up into this, and it just starts out it says, a man of Elohim, or a man of God, went from Judah to Bethel by word of Yahweh, while Jeroboam was standing at the slaughter place to burn incense. Okay? And I had something on 2. And it says, and he cried out against the slaughter place by word of Yahweh and said, O slaughter place, thus said Yahweh, see, a son is to be born to the house of David. Yoshiyahu, or Messiah, is his name. And on you he shall slaughter the priests of high places who burn incense on you, and men's bones be burned on you. Okay? So here's a future prophecy. I just had it kind of highlighted, a future prophecy, to see if this kind of takes place later on. Just, certain things, especially prophecies, we try to pinpoint. And then in 3, and he gave a sign the same day, saying, this is the sign which Yahweh has spoken. See, there's a lot of places split apart, and the ashes to be poured out. Okay, the reason why I wanted to emphasize on number 3 is a lot of times, every time I've been seeing these prophetic words, sometimes your confirmation comes quick, and sometimes the sign comes a little later, but I'm seeing signs. So how I'm seeing the Most High work is, you have a prophetic word come out, and it'll be a sign following the prophetic word to let you know that this was going to happen, that it was actually a word of the Most High. All right, just it wasn't a trust me type of factor thing. And I think we've gotten away from that. And I don't know why we've gotten away from that. I don't know why people feel like we should just trust what they say comes from the mouth of the Most High. But as what I've been seeing, we've seen words come out from the Most High in signs. And we can go back to like even Moses. He had a sign that followed him. Multiple signs, actually, after he came and he spoke to the people. So contextually, we've been seeing that the Most High ain't just saying trust what anybody just say, okay? You have to have some backing behind it. And the Most High would bring that backing behind you, especially with big events. I'm going to keep on going, though. I had 9, 4. Okay. Now I got to give you some context. I'm sorry. So now this man of the Most High, he was told. Go ahead.
Hey, before you go to whatever point you're going to, just read 5.
Okay, and the slaughter place was split apart, and the ashes poured on the slaughter place, according to the sign which the man of Elohim had given by the word of Yahweh. I probably should have read that after I said it was a sign. Huh?
Yeah.
So there's his sign. Okay. All right, I'm gonna keep going down. So now I gotta kind of give you some context. So Jeroboam, he pointed his hand towards this man, and his hand, it says, dried up in his ISR. So I would assume that his hand kind of shriveled, and the man had to pray for him for his hand to be restored back to the way it was. Okay? And then I wanted to go back down. I wanted to go down to 8 and 9. It says, so the sovereign said, hey, come back to my house and chill out, eat and drink. And then he said, but the man of Elohim said to the sovereign, if you were to give me a half of your house, I do not go with you, nor I eat bread, nor drink water in this place. All right, now he said basically there's no amount of money that make me to break the word of the Most High. That's very key, all right, because I'm going to keep on going. Then in 9. For so he commanded me by the word of Yahweh, saying, do not eat bread, nor drink water, nor return by the same way you came. So now he's giving the instructions that the Most High gave to him. So he said, I wouldn't take it for no amount of money. All right? And then he said, so he went on his way. Then there was a prophet. Heard about what happened. Okay? And he goes to this man. So I'm going to go to 14. And he went after the man of Elohim, and he found him sitting under the terebinth tree, and he said to him, are you the man of Elohim who came from YHWH? And he said, I am. He said, I am. Okay. He wasn't said he was the Most High. He said he was. And he said, come home with me and eat bread. And he said, I am not able to return to you or go with you, nor am I able to eat or drink water with you in this place. And he repeats basically what the word is saying. So here we're going 18. It says, and he said to him, I too am a prophet like you. And a messenger spoke to me by the word of Yahweh, saying, bring him back with you to your house and let him eat bread and drink water. But he lied to him. Okay? So I wanted to just point out how money didn't get this man to do to break the word of the Most High. But he was easily able to be lied to because this man said he was a prophet. It just goes to show how we as people can be tricked if someone says, hey, I'm coming and I heard a word from the Most High. Do this, do that. And he knew, I can't say everybody else, I'm just saying, he knew what the Most High had told him. So now here you go with the opposite. Somebody come out here and saying the opposite, all right? And he lied, okay? But for him to say he was a prophet, that's all it took. Not no money or none of that. He didn't even get confirmation, okay? He didn't get no sign like the Most High gave him a sign, you know what I'm saying, about what he was saying, all right? So I'm going to keep going. So he turned back with them, and he ate and drank in his house, and he ate and drank water, okay? So now here you go. He just broke the word of the Most High, all right? Skip down to 22. I'm sorry. I'm going to go to 21. And he cried out to the man, or I think I'm skipping something. I wanted to say something. 20, I'm sorry. And it came to be that he sat at the table, the word of Yahweh came to the prophet who brought him back. Okay, so this is not, it didn't even come to him. It came to the man that lied to him. And he cried out to the man of Elohim who came from Judah, saying, thus said Yahweh, because you have rebelled against the mouth of Yahweh and have not guarded the command which Yahweh your Elohim commanded you, and turn back and ate bread and drank water in the place in which he said to you, do not eat bread or drink water. Your body shall not enter the burial site of your fathers. All right? So he used the prophet that lied to him to give him a word. Another thing that I want to point out how this wording is, because you rebelled against the mouth of Yahweh. Okay? Now, this is, like we always been pointing out, don't be taking stuff so literal, you know what I'm saying, because we don't speak like this. Okay? I'll never tell my children or my child, you rebelled against my mouth. Okay? I would say you ain't listening to what I told you. Or you didn't hear my words. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Just pointing out the different ways people speak. All right? So.
Hey, what verse are you on? If you don't mind me asking.
The last verse I did was 22.
Hey, let me ask you a question. I don't know if you all really saw the significant, or if I missed you say anything about it. But at the end of verse 14, what is it? This is chapter 13. Oh, I'm on the wrong chapter.
Yeah,
sorry.
chapter 13.
Oh. Okay, hold on one second. I got because I'm on the Bible. I'm on the interlinear. So when I went to it, I'm like, wait, this isn't adding up. The end of verse 14, it says I am. So I was just trying to see. Okay, so the word is ani. Okay, never mind then. I wanted to see if that word or if that phrasing was in cahoots with. Yeah. Okay.
I just want to. I want to speak to that since you brought it up.
Okay, go ahead.
Real quick. That just goes to show how, you know what I mean, just the fact of how things are being translated. To say I am is ani or anochi.
Yep.
Where it says I am that I am in the KJV, we went over this, but that shouldn't be translated that way. Because it's totally two different sentences. You know, it's different words in there. So how do you get the same translation, I am that I am? So I'm not going to go deep into it, but I just wanted to say that since it was brought up.
Well, I guess it's good that I brought it up.
Well, since you brought it up, what is for the listeners that might not have been there, what is the words that's used when I am that I am instead of I need or I need? What instead of I need?
Yeah. Esha, yeah. But some people say ahaya, Esha ahaya, but I believe it's yeah. Am I saying it right? You did, y'all? You're a little more well-spoken in this.
It's
okay.
yeah.
See? So this is
and what is that translated
important.
better as?
There you go.
It would be translated as I shall be either what I shall be or it's probably the best. I shall be what I shall be.
Right.
Okay.
So for the listeners out there, because it is some people that just came in, what I just brought out or asked, because this is his chapter. He was in verse 22, but I asked about verse 14, and he said, I am. So I was, I wanted to know what it actually said, and we do know what Hebrew word for I am or I is, and it's ani. And y'all just made a point that making that comparison of I am that I am, it would not. It's two different phrases. I am will be ani, but we know that it's yeah, ashar, yeah. So it's very important. And he just gave you exactly what it would be translated as. I shall be what I shall be is one of the most accurate or perfect renderings of that. So I just wanted to reiterate what we just said because it is a couple people that just came in.
Yeah, and also
in
later Hebrew it just went to Ani, but in the Tanakh and some of the more ancient writings they also use Anochi. It's not as common as it's not as commonly used today in modern Hebrew, but you'll also see that as I am or I used in Scripture.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Now, that's good information right there. All right. I'm going to continue, if that's okay with you guys, if y'all don't have anything else. All right.
Good.
So I was on 22. All right. So the Most High just gave him a word and say you and not be buried with your fathers, right? I'm going to read a couple of these to tell you what happened, kind of like skim read it. All right. It came to be that after he had eaten the bread and after he had drunk, he sat at his donkey for the prophet whom he had brought back. And when he went, the lion met him by the way and killed him. His body was thrown in the way, and the donkey was sitting by it, and the lion was standing by the body. Now, what was amazing about this is the lion did not even touch the donkey. The lion came out, knocked the man off, killed the man. Not just knocked him off the thing, but he killed him. And the donkey sitting there with the lion. All right? And it says, see, men were passing by and saw the body thrown by the way while the lion was standing by the body, and they went and reported to the city where the old prophet dwelled. And the prophet who had brought him back by the way heard it and said, is this the man of the Elohim? It is the man of Elohim who rebelled against the mouth of Yahweh. And Yahweh gave him to the lion, and it tore him apart and killed him according to the word of Yahweh, which he spoke to him. All right? And he spoke to him. So basically then he said, go ahead, grab this man and bring him back. You know what I'm saying? And it says in 30, and he placed his body in his own burial site, and he lamented over him, saying, oh, my brother. So here's the word of the Most High. Say, you're not going to be buried with your fathers. And that's one thing that in these next couple chapters I see is something very significant, to be buried with your father. Okay? And it's like honorary, or whatever you want to call it. All right? I had something for... I'm going to go to 32. It says, for the word which he cried out by the word of Yahweh against the slaughter place in Bethel and against the houseless high slaughter places which the cities of Shamaron shall certainly come to be. After this event, Jeroboam did not turn from his evil ways, but again he made priests from all sorts of people, from the high places. Whoever wished, he ordained to become one of the priests of the high place. And this matter was a sin of the house of Jeroboam, even to cut off and destroy it from the face of the earth. Now, did I just read that right? That the fact that he made priests out of anybody he wanted to make him out, that was also a sin. That's why as I read it, it seemed to be something very important. So my question, maybe it's a rhetorical question, but if it was bad then, what makes it not bad now to have priests? According to anybody who just want to be a priest, you can get ordained. Because I promise you, if you really want to be ordained, you can go on a website, pay $100, and you can be an ordained minister today. No test. Bring that bread. Okay? I'm not joking. All right? And that's all I really had, you know what I'm saying? That's all I really saw. I'm going to yield the floor to Jedediah, because Jedediah got the next verse, so I'm going to go, next chapter, so I'm going to go in that order. Yeah, so see, Jedediah got something for it.
I did a great job, brother. You hit pretty much everything that I had. And I'm kind of glad that you asked that question at the end. I had that highlighted as well, so I really wasn't going to hit on it, but I did want to say something, and the question opened up the door for me. I totally agree with your statement, first and foremost, of apparently it was something wrong with just making whoever you want to be priest, especially during that time, because we know that it was only a Levitical priesthood set up according to what the Most High prescribed for the nation. And, contextually, it clearly says that it was a sin, or it was, it was wrong for him to do. And so, also in 34 it says, and this thing became sin into the house of Jeroboam, even to cut it off. So, even to cut it off is saying, it's so bad.
Hold on 1 second. Can you read that in the KJV? Did you read it in the KJV?
That's what I'm reading in the KJV right now.
So can you read it again slow? In this thing was what?
And this thing became sin.
Okay.
Unto the house of Jeroboam.
In my ISR, and I'm going to check the interlinear, the only reason I asked you to say this is, in this matter was the sin of the house of Jeroboam. Like, it makes it more definite when you put the "the." So I was going to see if that "the" should actually be there. And that's why I asked you to read it again. So I ain't mean to cut you off, but go ahead. I'm going to check on something.
Well, we'll look at that. Maybe you could go ahead and go run to the interlinear. Brother Shema could do that while I'm finishing out. But in the KJV, that's what it reads. Even to cut it off and to destroy it from the face of the earth. So that sin or that transgression was so bad that, the Most High is saying that he wants to cut off Jeroboam's house. So basically his lineage from taking, any role in kingship. So that's basically, we could look at that as somewhat prophecy. So we should be looking for that coming up when we see things like that. And going to 33, this is from the KJV as well. It says, after this thing, Jeroboam returned not from his evil way, but made again. So when we say made again, what are you talking about, made again? Of the lowest of the people, priests of the high place, which is crazy because it say the lowest of the people. That means he went and got some of anybody, some like basically people. You know how a lot of people be like, oh, we don't take, like, God take some of the people you wouldn't expect. That's, I've heard that preach. People that you wouldn't expect, God would take them and make them his priests or whatever. So this right here just kind of shows this mentality of him saying, I'm going to just grab whoever, some of the, peasants or whatever of the kingdom and make them priests, And we see that this wasn't the right type of attitude to have. And when it say made again in 1 Kings 12 and 31, in 31, we saw this happening. Jeroboam, before at 31, it says, I'm going to go up and give a little context. I'm going to start at 28, I guess. it say, whereup the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold. Remember we read that, and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. We talked about this, so I'm not going to beat this dead horse, but go back and listen to the show where we covered chapter 12, and you'll hear what we talked about on that. But it says, and he set the one in Bethel, and the other put up he in Dan. And this thing became a sin. So same wording. For the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. So, same thing. He did it again. So, and then the only other thing I had was that he hit, I believe, let me see. I wanted to point out where he was talking about the hand being restored. I just wanted to point out in verse 6, at the latter part of it, it said, and the man of God besought, and that's the tetragrammaton. So, the Most High, YHWH, it didn't say he sought nobody else. So, I just want to, put emphasis on that. The man asked for him to pray and, for his hand to be restored. And so the man of Elohim, who did he pray to? Who did he go to? He went to Yahuwah. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for allowing me.
And to piggyback off that, before I bring my point, this is Shema. We see things taking place, the power of Yahuwah, through these malachim, through the messages, and it basically coming from what he just brought out, requesting it and praying to the Most High. We saw that with Moshe. It's not. I can't see the Most High changing that message. So I'll elaborate on what I'm saying later on in our contextual studies. So yeah, and what I wanted to bring out, which is nothing major, but just something that I think we should learn from. Again, you heard me say before, I think the Tanakh or the Torah, more so the Tanakh and collectively, is the best examples that we could possibly have. New Testament good principles, but the best examples as to how we should operate concerning El Elyon, the Most High, is in the Tanakh. What do I mean by that? We see that this man of Elohim, we see the good in what Orech brought out and what Yedidiah brought out, but what's the bad? The bad is, and stop me if you already said this, stick your ground. When you know what the Most High told you. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem. I can understand if you see another fellow prophet, and this probably could go into a sister that's on the show by the name of Hakma. She always asks this question: how do you know? This is one solution to help you know, right? Through the contextual study, what have we seen the most out of the most faithful men, and I'm sure women as well, of Elohim? They confirmed it 2 or 3 times. They didn't just take another man of Elohim or some prophet, because guess what? We know that the Most High can use other prophets for evil works. So to confirm that the Most High said this, he should have went to the side, not to talk bad about the man of God. This is learning stuff that we should learn all their mistakes as well to help us in our walk. Confirm it. Hey, okay, I hear what you're saying, but let me go in my private space real quick and holler at the Most High and confirm it. Who was that, y'all, that confirmed it 2 or 3 times? Which one was it? I forgot who it was that did like 3 times. Like, I know you told me already, but I just want to make sure. So that's what I mean. We got to confirm it. And that's what he didn't do. That's all I really wanted to add in this chapter.
All right. Only thing I just want to reiterate is at the end of that chapter, man, and the end of the chapter 12, that we had extra stuff being done, and the king had basically appointed priest, and they had extra feast or new feast and all this other stuff. So just, and this ain't to knock nobody's little situation, but I'll just put it like this. At one point, it was wrong to deviate from what the Most High set up and for you to ordain priests and to do whatever you want to do. It was wrong, okay? If you don't feel like it's wrong anymore, that's on you. But at this point, how we getting through scriptures, this was a sin. And they got people cut off. You know what I mean? So it had to have been very serious. So just be careful on what you deem to be okay, and it's not really lining up to scriptures, because I don't see a point in where I see that the priest is going to just change hands from Levitical. But that's just me. And moving on. So, you have the next one.
All right. So we're moving into chapter 14, and starting off, we start off with pretty much the context of Ahijah's or Ahijah prophecy against Jeroboam. So during this time, it says in verse 1 that Abijah, the son of Jeroboam, fell sick. And Jeroboam said to his wife, "Arise, I pray thee, and disguise thyself, that thou be not known to be the wife of Jeroboam, and get thee to Shiloh. Behold, there is Ahijah, the prophet, which told me that I should be king over this people."
Can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead.
I want to make a correction to what we did. I don't think we did anything, but I want to make a correction. Before I say what I'm going to say, do you remember who it was talking to you did, y'all, because I think me and you talked about this. When we found out that they had a het in their name, do you remember who that was? I forgot who it was. It was somebody who was like, wow.
I think it's maybe been Rehoboam.
Okay, it was somebody else early, like me and you was talking. But the point of what I'm trying to say is this: I was going to make a point about this name, Ahijah or Ahijah, and I was trying to look at the root to see if it was compared to Exodus 3 and 14. And I was going to make a point that, okay, we have not seen anybody take the name or the root of this I am, right? To kind of like really pinpoint the YHWH. Here's the problem with this name right here. It has a het in here. So to actually pronounce his name, it would be Ahijah or Ahijah, however you want to say it, but it has the het in there. And I know to some that's listening, like, okay, what's the big deal? It was a conversation I had yesterday with, real quick if y'all allow me, the word ak it's one of them is brother, and then another one is it would be Aleph and the Chet, right? And then the other one is Aleph and the Kaf, Sophie. And the question was, okay, he believed that you say it the same way, and I was showing like it has to be a difference in the way that you say it because of the difference of the letter. And the reason I brought this out right here is because I remember earlier, I think I might have been the one that brought it out, or maybe one of you were. We was making a point about this name, Ahia or Ahia, and we was comparing it to, you know, the Ehye, or people say Ahia. This name's actually Ehia, so it has a Chet. So it's nothing major, but I wanted to put that out there. But it's a word I'm gonna find. It's somebody's name. I don't know if it's. I'll find it. Yeah, because it was an actual prophet that we had. Somebody big, like real major in the Christianity world, and we didn't even know that it had a Chet in there. We was like, wow. So I'll find out what your name there was. But go ahead. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay. Just to caveat out on what you're talking about. Also, it all goes with vocalization, as well, because like we pointed out, people say Ahaya, but it's actually Ehye. So, because people place whatever vowels they want to, it's going to also sound like something else, when the actual vocalization is different according to the vowel markings or nekodot. So, but anyway, moving forward, so the wife is basically being told to go disguise herself and, go see the prophet, which actually spoke and said that he would be king over the people. And what you'll see in verse 3 is that he is instructing her to take, some things to him. And so, a lot of people might, construe this to say, hey, when you go see a prophet, you got to bring him something. I know this is something O probably would say. I'm just tapping in the mind of O right now. And I'm speak. O's trying to get in my mind and speak right now because he's sitting back like, people think. No, I'm just tripping. I might not be, but I'm just talking. But, yeah, so people might perceive that, when you go see a prophet, you have to bring them something, but this is just what, Jeroboam instructed his wife to do. If that's what he wanted to do, that's what he wanted to do. Can't say it's wrong, but can't say it's mandatory. All right. So what I want to jump down, basically, in 8, it says, and rent the kingdom away from the house of David and give it to thee. And all right, give it to thee, and ye thou has not been as my servant David, who kept my commandments and who followed me with all his heart to do that which is right in my eyes, but hast thou done evil above all that were before thee. For thou hast gone and made thee other gods and molten images to provoke me to anger, and hast cast me behind thy back. Therefore, behold, this is 10. Therefore, behold, I will bring evil upon the house of Jeroboam and will cut. So, again, we see this being re-established in word. And will cut off from Jeroboam him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel, and will take away the remnant. That's my word right there. That's what he like to talk about, the remnant. Take away the remnant of the house of Jeroboam, as a man taketh away dung, till it be all gone. So again we see this confirmation of the Most High's word coming again. And it's kind of crazy because we see kind of like he's trying to bribe the prophet or something to say something else, when you read it in context. Because when his wife went to him and brought him all this stuff, he said, go tell Jeroboam, thus saith the Lord God of Israel. You know what I'm saying? So he went and sent to say, go talk to the prophet who actually spoke and said I would be king. And go, take them this stuff. See, a lot of times people take prophet stuff to hear something good. And so they expect, I'm giving you this, I'm giving you this. You better give me a good word. You better give me a good word,
Wait a minute.
And they know they done did wrong.
Something.
No? Huh?
You just hit something. I need you to say that again for the listeners, man. The first part of what you said. That needs to be reiterated. That first part.
He know he done did wrong. He know he done sinned. He done made these priests that he wasn't supposed to make. He done made molded images, idols, got the people worshiping, because not only did he sin, but he caused the people to sin. That's big too. We can't forget that. And so
the part I wanted you to speak on, though, that's the part leading up to what you just said. But what this man just said was, a lot of times when we think of prophetic words, it's always only positive or good words in today. And when you said that, I trickled back in memory of how when I was in, the modern understanding of the scriptures, and I've never heard a prophetic word that was bad. I've never heard one. Have any of you? Any pastors that's
I've heard it from others.
Wait a minute. Are you asking, have I ever heard it in church, or have I ever heard a bad prophetic word?
In church, like when somebody say, "Hey, I'm speaking prophetically over your life right now." I've never heard anyone say something negative. What we would look at as negative or bad. Never.
I don't think I've heard one according to the prophets to set up the church and say this is what God's gonna do in your life. He's gonna bring you a new car, house, and this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? And he's gonna take you to a new level. This is usually the uniform of what actually is being said. But I'll say this: I've heard of prophets not in church speak something and say something that was not good. Okay, and that was on a personal level. So according to what I've seen in church and according to on the personal level, it's two different things. So
right. Okay. Yeah, I just want to know what y'all. I've never seen it. Not once, bro.
Nah, that was good. I mean, I've heard you need to give God your life, or you need to, accept Jesus or whatever. I've heard certain things like that, but as far as speaking over your life, God is saying that I've heard, like I said, little stuff like God is saying you need to get your house in order. You know what I'm saying? I've heard stuff like that, but nothing to the extent like God gonna take everything away from you.
Right.
And third, not in a church setting like that, but yes, I've heard it like, you know, if you don't change your life, you need to change your life right now. Like, actually, my wife told me when she was, before she had got a word and she went to see this girl in the hospital and told her, you know, you need to this, that, and the third, and the girl, like, didn't really adhere to what she was saying. She ended up dying or whatever. You know, that's just like one example, but I've seen it, like Brother O said, on a personal level more so.
I just want to say something real quick. Like the Most High told me, I had a dream, and the interpretation of the dream basically basically the Most High told me that I was gonna be punished for 2 years. So while a lot of times people thinking everything gonna be sweet and it's all fine, hunky dory, like God is just love. It's not that He's not love, but that don't mean He don't punish you. Like I remember that, like, and I went through some things for 2 years, and I was hoping that I was gonna get like what's it called, probation, paroled or something. You know what I mean? On good behavior or something, but nah. Then I had another dream at about the end of the 2 years that I was getting released, that I got released from jail. And it made me, I recalled the first dream 2 years. I never forgot the first dream, okay? But then when the 2 years is about up, I had another dream about me being released. And things changed after that, financially, mentally, you know what I'm saying? A lot of things have changed since that. So, yeah, it ain't always peaches and cream, for real. And that's from a personal aspect. And it could be disobeying the word of the Most High, just period. That's where mine came from, being disobedient, not seeking Him for the right answer and making the wrong move. And that wrong move was a cause and effect. Like, you know what I'm saying, the effect of what I did put me in situations, you know what I'm saying, that was hard, okay? So it's maybe not more so of a punishment, but it kind of was, though. But, look, I don't know how to explain it. It's the punishment for my actions, but it's what happened because of what I did. Now, if I never did it, it would never happen, of course. Not in that aspect. But that's that. I don't want to take up too much of this time.
Hey,
I just wanted to.
If you allow me to, but before I slip my mind, you did, the name that me and you was talking about, just for purposes of the listeners, because I remember Mercy said that he wants you to continue doing this. So this is why I'm doing this, y'all. Nehemiah is what we call him. Everybody does. You know, when you look at the Bible, you say Nehemiah. His name is actually Nehemiah. It has that het in there. I just wanted to throw that in there. So Nehemiah.
All right, cool. Thank you for that. I hope Brother Mercy appreciates it, which I know he does. All right, so just case in point, just like, you know, kind of like the mindset of when I bring, you know, because we see it today, you know, people go up and they pay the prophet, you know, they're standing up there. You know, you got some traveling prophets. They go to churches, and people go up and throw money at their feet and get a word, you know. And so when you do that, you expect for a good word. But any good prophet, they're going to give you what's real, you know. So if a prophet is getting money and all he doing is prophesying good things, smooth things, then, I mean, that's kind of like an indication, you know, there's something wrong. Everything is not going to be good, especially when you know you've been doing wrong. You should expect to hear something bad, you know. And when you bring your money, you know, sometimes that can influence the person speaking. But as we see in this situation, he said, look, go tell your husband, basically. Go tell Jeroboam that this is what the Most High said. You know, I don't care about all this stuff you bringing me. So I think it would be actually crazy, because I've never seen it like the brother Shema said, where somebody actually gives money. Like, here's a $1,000 seed. Tell me what the Most High got for me. And that person turn around with that $1,000 seed and say, you finna lose everything. Like, I wonder how that would feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just gave them $1,000 seed, and they just told you finna lose everything, your house, your cars, your job. That would make you
like, well,
turn around and be like, well, I'm going to need that $1,000 back if that's what's going to go on. Can you please give me my 1,000 back? I'm going to need that later on.
That's all
when that come to pass.
For real.
Right. So, you know, that's a little humor, but, I mean, it's real. It's reality. So I'm going to move forward. All right, so as he's going through the prophecy, or he's telling them, you know, about it, you go to 14 and say, moreover, the Lord shall raise him up a king over Israel, who shall cut off the house of Jeroboam that day. But what? Even now, for the Lord shall smite Israel as a reed is shaken in the water, and he shall uproot Israel out of this good land which he hath given their fathers, and shall scatter them beyond the river, because they have made their groves provoking the Lord to anger. We know that's tetragrammaton. Okay. Before I move forward, there's one more verse I want to hit in that scenario. But what I wanted to point out first is that we see another prophetic word here. You know, collectively, there's a few events that's supposed to happen. You know, he's supposed to cut him off. Then we see that another king is supposed to rise over Israel, who's supposed to cut off, who's actually going to do the cutting off. So we got to be very attention to detail when we're moving forward. So we say, okay, did it happen exactly how the Most High said it was supposed to happen? That's how we got to approach the prophecy. And then it says that he's also going to smite Israel. Okay, so Israel is getting smite as a whole. All right, that's important. And they're going to be uprooted now out of the good land. I think that's very important. First, I think it's important that we understand the terminology. Uprooted. Uprooted basically means you are going to remove them by the roots, basically. So we know this has to be something dealing with, because we're dealing with this terminology. There had to be a prior terminology, right? So with that, I go back to 2 Samuel 7 and verse 10, as he's, you know, telling them basically how he's going to set them up. So he said, moreover, I will appoint I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more as before time. So this is when he was promising them, and this is when he was trying to set them up. But we see that key word, plant. Then here we see uproot. So he did plant them in the land. He did give them rest, and they wasn't afflicted.
Stop.
Time,
remember that word, people? Plant. 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 I want to plant that in your head. Plant. Plant, plant, plant. Plant, 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 plant. All right, now keep going.
Okay, we see this uprooting of Israel, right? And I already knew, you know, my brother was going to jump in there. I was going to, kind of bring his thought and speak his thought, but he jumped in. That's cool. So I ain't got to say it. But then you go to 16, and it says, and he shall give Israel up because of the sins of Jeroboam, who did sin and who made Israel to sin. So what we see is this king, when he was in his reign, sinned. And this is why the Most High is doing this to the people. Primarily because the king sinned and he caused Israel to sin. But he didn't put no gun to Israel's head. Israel just followed suit based on what he was doing. So we see the people being punished primarily for what the king did.
It would have been a sword, anyway. Oh, man, go ahead, man.
You crazy, man. I guess just like when they say his shoes, it should say sandals, huh?
Sandals.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to jump down. So basically after that, we see that Nadab succeeds Jeroboam. So he reigns in his stead. And then we see Rehoboam, he reigns and in Judah. So in that we see verse 22. It says, and Judah did evil in the sight of the Lord, and they provoked him to jealousy with their sins which they had committed above all their fathers had done. So it's like they just getting worse and worse during this time. For they also built them high places, and images, and groves, and every high hill, and under every green tree. And there were also sodomites in the land. All right, so just in case, people know, this is not a lineage. It means they were partaking in sodomy. That's what that means. That this is not a people. It's just like it was some sodomites in the land. And they did according to all the abominations of the nations which the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. So basically what you see is, I moved these people out to bring y'all in to be a righteous people, to be before me in the land that I have my eye on day and night. And y'all turn around and doing the same thing that the people I moved out is doing. You just wasted my time. I did all this to get y'all here, and y'all doing the same thing that they doing. Makes no sense. That's vanity. All right. And it came to pass in the 5th year of King Rehoboam that Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem. And he took away the treasures of the house of the Lord and the treasures of the king's house. He even took away all. So we see this other king, or this other king of Egypt come in and basically run through the house of the Lord and just take everything, and just basically punked the king and took everything. All right, and then after that, the last thing in this chapter is Abijam, son, Abijam, hold on. Let me see, and his mother name. Rehoboam slept with his fathers. Let me read this part, give it context. 31, and Rehoboam slept with his fathers and was buried with his father in the city of David, and his mother's name was Naamah, and Ammonitis, and Abijam his son. So the son of Rehoboam, Abijam, reigned in his stead. So from this point, that's who's reigning. And that's the chapter right there.
All right. In order of the chapters, Shema, you have the floor. Shema, you might be on mute, brother.
Yeah, I was on mute. I really don't have anything to add in this chapter, to be honest with you. He hit all the points that I would have even brought out. Other than the stuff I already added in the very beginning. That's all I truly had. What I will say, because I normally bring this up, is I will bring out verse 7. I think it's important. And before I read it, it's two views that we can look at it as. We can look at it as these people paid high regards to Dawit, the authors, or this is exactly what the Most High revealed that he felt about Dawit. It says, go tell Jeroboam, thus said Yahweh, God of Israel, inasmuch as I elevated you from the midst of the people, and then placed you as ruler over my people Israel, and I tore away the kingship from the house of Dawit and gave it to you. But you were not like my servant Dawit, who kept my commandments and who went after me with all his heart, to do only what is proper in my eyes. I think that is very important. A lot of times we like to, not us on this line, but in the modern understanding of the scriptures, we like to point out the flaw or something that took place of a person to make ourselves feel better about us remaining in sin. That's what we do. Even people that's not involved in the church, that's what we do. You know, if somebody points something out about you, they'll be like, well, you did this. You know, that's how I look at it when the people of the modern understanding of the scriptures pinpoint people like Dawit. When he did the only thing that the Most High said was wrong in his eyes was Uriah. When they look at Noah, when they talk about he got drunk, the scripture doesn't bring that out like the way that they do it. When they try to bring out Eob or Job, I know we're not there yet, so forgive me, panelists, when I say this, but the Most High told his friends that you all said everything wrong, but my servant Eob said everything right. And I go to him. You know, so it's like this is what we do. So we're seeing right here that the Most High says that his servant, but you are not like my servant David, who kept my commandments, who went after me with all his heart to do only what is proper in my eyes. And we see that's the case. He did. He slipped up once. You know, maybe a couple times, like Mercy tried to bring out. You know, I'm sure in his life he slipped up. But according to what the Most High wanted him to do, he did this with all his heart to do what was proper. That was his lifestyle. His lifestyle was going towards doing proper in the eyes of Yahweh. That's what I wanted to bring out.
I didn't know if you was done, but I guess you are because you had the longest pause ever. So I'm going to jump in. It's just I don't have much. He did a phenomenal job with that. But it was some stuff that just stuck out to me. So keep game, though. All right, in 7, he was just reading 7, 8:9, right? So go say to Jeroboam, thus said Yahweh Elohim of Israel, because I exalted you from among the people and made you ruler over my people, Israel, and tore the reign away from the house of David and gave it to you. Okay. So he only, okay. Solomon, let me get this right. Maybe am I wrong? Y'all let me know if I'm wrong, whatever. Solomon is the reason why Jeroboam even got the 10 tribes because of his disobedience. Correct?
Right.
Okay. And it was told to Solomon that the reign would stay in his household as long as he did what was right in the eyes of the Most High. Right? Okay. Right. Anybody say right? All right. So now here is that. Well, I know we already went through this, but here's the Most High repeating it and saying, hey, look, I done snatched that up out of his and gave it to you because of their disobedience, and look, you did the same thing. All right? So we have to continue to follow down this line to see the disobedience and then how long some things happen. Okay, I just want to point that out without going any further. Just follow me. I know it's like it seems like I'm trying to go somewhere I am, but I can't go there yet because we're not there. All right? But I just wanted to point that out. 9, but you done more evil than all who were before you, for you have gone and made yourself mighty ones, and provoked me, and have cast me behind your back. All right, just another term that is not to be taken literal, because you can't cast the Most High behind your back. Basically, to not do what he asked you to do is to be casting him behind your back. Period. All right. But I have to go back and read about this reign staying in the line of David. Okay, and what was the promises made to him? Because we see that, of course, that was broken. And I remember saying something about this. Well, we know it broke, so what happened? You know, where we go from here? Well, we see that it's broken. He said that it was broken, and it's continued to be disobedience from on the line. And like Yah pointed out, you know, they continue to do what they want to do. 14. All right. And Yahweh shall raise up for himself a sovereign over Israel, who cut off the house of Jeroboam this day and even now. Okay. So this is another prophecy that we're going to see. And there's another word, to raise up. Okay. The Most High uses this term. And they have to fit the description. They have to do what is being said, like Yah said. The main key thing I want everybody to remember, what he said was that if there's a prophecy going out about someone, they have to fit every facet of the prophecy. Not half, not a quarter. Just cannot. It's not the way this thing has been working. All right? And then another thing, and I was going to ask, you know how they say the lineage is in the father? You know, that's the big thing. I don't know. You know, it was questionable because, you know, of course I haven't read it, but I kind of see where that it has to be somewhat of truth as far as inheritance and stuff like that, of course, because in 21 it says, meanwhile, Rehoboam, son of Solomon, reigned in Judah Jeroboam was 41 years old when he became sovereign. He reigned 17 years in Jerusalem, and the city of YHWH had chosen out of the tribes of Israel to put his name there. And his mother's name was Naamah, the Ammonitess. So does that mean she was an Ammonite, right?
Yeah.
So obviously he was not considered to be an Ammonite after his mother. Because if that was the case, Ammonite took the throne. But this also goes to show, for all those pure lineage, Hebrew people thinking out there, it ain't happened back then, it ain't happened now. Ain't nobody 100% Israel. They wasn't even 100% Israel back then. They intermingled with Ammonites and Moabites and everybody else. Of course, but they say the lineage travels between the father. That's what made them still Israel. But I know we done got a little older. We know DNA, you have 50% of your mama and your daddy, point blank period. I'm not saying that makes you who, it just makes up your DNA, your makeup. Okay? I'm like my mother, my father, a mixture, kind of look like, I don't know which one I look like somebody. My kids are the same way. Sometimes you see yourself in your kids. But, I hear a lot of people say, you got to stay within your tribe and this, that, and the other. And, woo. Well, first off, we don't even know what tribe we from. That's one. And secondly, that wasn't even the case back then in the Bible. That's another thing. And another thing, and I want to go backwards to what YHWH said. Yes, he was all in my head about bringing the prophet gifts and stuff like that, just to give him confirmation. Yeah, I was gonna say something, but he knocked that out the park. So I'm gonna leave that be. And that's all I got to say, man. We can move on from there. Good stuff, though. So without further ado, YHWH, you got the floor.
Yeah, I think Shema got
not
the
YHWH. I miss Shema.
But since you gone and said I got the floor, I just wanted to say, that was some good stuff you brought out, and a good observation as far as the lineage goes. The passing of the kingdom, and all those things that you identified.
And also, you gotta realize, man, anybody that's listening in that might be of the community of the Hebrew world, so-called black man that identify with the Hebrew, you will have to follow along this show to really get an idea of what Orech is really saying. He's not to say, hey, go marry anybody you want to. That's not what he's saying, and he's not against that either. Correct me if I'm wrong. But what he's saying is, if you was following along in the show contextually, you did. Y'all brought out Brother Mercy, brought out Brother Orech, brought out. It was more of an establishing a people. It was more of establishing a nation. In order to establish a nation, you have to establish within the nation. It wasn't more so of saying, hey, I don't want you marrying another nation. When I say this, I'm not saying to marry another nation. Hear me out, okay? It was trying to establish something. Was it people amongst them already? Yes, it was. We brought that out without a shadow of a doubt. But the ultimate method, the ultimate initial order was to establish a people, a particular people, with a nation within this particular people. So, as we've been seeing up to this point of what he brought out now, we see it was others among that they actually intermingled with. The people that he said not to intermingle with, if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me, was it in Deuteronomy or Devarim 7? I believe it was. I could be wrong, but it gave you the nations that not to and why not to. This is what we talk about contextual study, y'all. Because any one of us, and I'm having a little breakdown point, not a breakdown, but a point right now where I want to bring the reality of the scriptures in. We can pinpoint and take you to Nehemiah chapter 9. We can take you to different points in Deuteronomy or Numbers where it's trying to pinpoint not to marry these people. We could take you to the Solomon where these people caused him to do this, so you shouldn't. No, you pick and choose it. The ultimate message or the ultimate whole all be all was in different instances, different scenarios, as you did Yahweh say, for these ordinances that he has for them to do. You can't just use this for everything. We got to use a whole picture contextually. So I just wanted to throw that before I get started in there, because we are seeing that they did marry other people of other races. It's not to promote that, but this is to bring reality and truth within the scriptures. It for lack of a better word, wasn't anything technically wrong from a standpoint of someone being converted in and things of that nature. So, if anybody have anything to respond,
yeah, man, I got something to say. I got something to say about that too. Now, just to think about how how different tribes and different people, they look different. They hold on different characteristics. This is the bad part about trying to look at someone's characteristics to say you are who you are. Because if this man had a half Ammonite and half Judah of Israel, whatever you want to say, he took on some characteristics of an Ammonite. Point blank, period. And then Solomon had a whole bunch of different wives out of different nations. So now these characteristics start to look different. Like, then not everybody's going to look the same. And they intermingled with other women of other nations, you know what I'm saying? And we know that different nations look alike. And when you intermingle them, you get this product, different products. And yes, a lot of the, indigenous people over here, black folks over here in America, we do have some of the same characteristics. But it's not exclusive to. It cannot be, because even then they started to intermingling. And what do you think happened towards the slavery and stuff like that? So, yes, the nose changed, the cheekbones changed for some, the ears changed for some. This is the hair texture changes for some. Those type of things, you just can't say, oh, your hair is nappy, or your hair is straight. You got Indian in your blood. You got stupid in your blood. Just to point out characteristics to say this is who you are, this, that, and the other. And I'm not trying to down somebody or belittle them, just saying, even then, he's still considered Israel. Okay, he's the king. All right, but he's mixed. So we can't go off of physical characteristics of people. We have to start thinking of just a little bit deeper than that. That's all I got to say. Like, we got to get a little deeper than that. We're very shallow as a people to start just looking at the fact that, you know what I'm saying, you got your hair nappy or this, that, and the other. We point this out in the show before about, what was it, Lenny Kravitz and dude off Prison Break. You got to keep, we'll have to keep going through all this. But this is just a point in the scripture.
For those that's wondering what he's talking about, again, we got some new people that's tuning in. When he brought up the Lenny Kravitz and the main actor from Prison Break, if we was to go off of, hey, you are what your father is. Okay, I agree with that method, or that ideology or that idea. I agree with it. But I do take in consideration what Orek is saying as well. But if we was to go off of that, you are what your father is, okay? If anybody watched Prison Break, I haven't watched it since, before a while, but the main actor looks plainly white, so-called white, period. Like, he does not have it doesn't even look like he has a so-called black feature on him. His father is Jamaican, darker than me. Now,
I want to say that dude looks so white that he played in a movie. He acted as a white dude, and he was a black dude acting as a white dude in this movie that I saw. This is real talk. And this man is really black, but in the movie he was really black, playing as a white guy. He got all through his life acting as a white guy, got white privilege all his life because of his characteristics. But he was really black, and he's really black in real life.
And then Lenny Kravitz, who we all, well, most of them are probably attribute him as being so-called black. His father is the whitest of whites. Literally, like if you've seen him, you'll be like, no, this cannot be his father, his biological father. So we got to be careful. We got to be careful into making a doctrine out of that and try to understand and take the scriptures, the Torah or the Tanakh, as it is, what the Most High is trying to bring out to us. And the reason behind him telling you not to intermingle and things like that. Again, this isn't to promote, but it's to bring reality. Oh, am I supposed to keep going? Did anybody have anything else to say before I continue? I just muted myself. No?
Nah, you're good. It's your chapter.
What about any of the listeners out there? We haven't included anyone up until this point. I'm willing to bring anyone in if they have anything to say before I go. In the famous words of Yah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So, going forward in chapter 15, it starts off with King Jeroboam, or Jeroboam, the son of Nebat. And what I wanted to bring out, when you go to verse 2, it says, for 3 years, and I'm reading from a different version, by the way. This is not KJV. I know that you did. Y'all was reading KJV, and Odak was reading ISR. We're just giving you a little taste of different ones. So this is the Stone edition tonight. So verse 2 says, for 3 years he reigned in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Ma'akah, daughter of Abishalom or Absalom. And I think this is important leading up to what leading up to Abijah, am I right? Abijah, this is who was speaking of him. Yeah. But verse 3 it goes and it says, he went in the way of all the sins of his father that he had done before him, and his heart was not whole with YHWH, his Elohim. We've been saying that a lot. You know, I could hear Achoti, Achma, or our sister, or my sister, Hakma asking, so what does hold me? What does his heart hold me? But we see this consistency in a lot of the remnant of the Most High. We see that their heart played a part in their, and even though there's not really wasn't really faithful to the Most High, their heart played a part in their character. And when I say heart, I'm meaning more so their mind, their thought process, their inner being. It played a part in their character. It played a part in their obedience to the Most High. Their sincerity, so to speak. And it says, and it always goes back to David. It says, as the heart of his forefather David had been. The had been is added. It was for David's sake that YHWH, his Elohim, had given him dominion in Jerusalem, or Jerusalem, to raise up his son after him and to establish Jerusalem, because David had done what is proper, in the eyes of YHWH, and did not veer from all that he had commanded him all the days of his life, except, this is added, but we know this to be true, except for the matter of Uriah the Hittite. So,
hold on, I got to stop you right there. You said that part is added in there?
It's added. It has a parentheses.
Okay, which part? Save only the matter of Uriah the Hittite?
Yeah, except for the matter. Yep, what you say?
Let me. I want to see this in the what you call the The reason why I'm saying you can keep going, but the reason why I
I'm
stopped you there.
I'm holding off.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
The reason why I stopped you there is while I'm looking for this. The reason why I stopped you there is because I remember that incident with the census session, or I said census, the census. I'm thinking of the class I've been in lately, but the census where he counted the people, he numbered the people. Now, wasn't that said that he did?
What part are you talking about? You talking about right here?
No, I'm talking about, because it said save, so it's saying the only thing David ever did wrong was that whole Uriah thing.
Right.
But then we read where when he numbered the people, didn't he mess up right there too, or?
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So if that's added, then that's what I'm trying to see. You know what I'm saying?
Which is crazy because in the lineage.
Well, I don't see it being added though. And go
maybe
ahead.
they put emphasis on it. Because like I know in the KJV, up in the also in here in the Hebrew, I'm about to look on it in the Hebrew, but it says in the lineage, it says save only in the case of Uriah the Hittite. So I'm wondering, like, why do they have this in parentheses when we know, that normally.
Well, didn't we Didn't we read when we went back to that census occasion, all right? Didn't it say something like he was more so persuaded to kind of do this?
Right. Yeah,
census thing. So
right.
Maybe that's not counted against him because he wasn't persuaded by nothing but the Uriah. He did it out of his own heart and whatever this, that, and the other. He made a mistake by being persuaded, but it also said the Most High had persuaded him.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't count it. Maybe it's not counted against him because it was the Most High's doing, according to to things that happen.
According to what we read,
Right. Exactly.
That's a good.
So that's
so
maybe what I'm
right
thinking.
There has a lot of impact that we can't even get into right now because that's a long conversation. But if you feel where I'm going with this, you already know that this is a deep conversation.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So, man, I forgot where I was going with that. But I wanted to bring that out. But going back to Absalom, we see if those that's listening haven't really been not paying attention, that's the wrong choice of words, I'm sorry, or haven't really caught this, because it's a lot that us as the panelists, we don't catch. It's a lot I don't catch sometimes, and I need these brothers to pinpoint sometimes. So it's a connection of why they're bringing up my daughter of Absalom, because in the very next verse we're seeing that he went in the way of all the sins of his father, and that's the connection with Absalom, because Absalom, we know that he was a rebel against King David. So that's something small, but we're seeing how the actions of the king or the actions of someone that is in leadership can definitely cause a trickle effect of those after. So my learning or my note that I would like to put out there is kind of like, us as individuals, we have to set forth a standard way of following the Most High, so that those after would have that idea or that example. It's going to be up to them to choose to do wrong or not, as we saw with the priest, I believe it was, you all correct me, Eli, said that priest or prophet, said that Eli, his kids were the sons of Belial, sons of worldliness, worthlessness. Those basically against God. So we know that Eli was for the Most High. So you only can do so much with those that's after you, but still set that foundation, is what I'm saying. When we go down to verse 9, it talks about, and I never paid attention to Asa. That's crazy. I didn't pay attention to him until this study. And I normally catch things like these because I think this is important. I think that what I'm about to read is very important because we only pay attention to the figures like David or Dawid, the figures like the main prophets that's put out there. We don't really pay attention to those that aren't as quote unquote significant as a story is concerned. But I like what this said. So I'm going to read all the way down to verse 14 from verse 9. In the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Israel, Asa became king over Yehuda. He reigned in Jerusalem for 41 years, and his grandmother's name was Ma'akah, daughter of Absalom. Asa did what was proper in the eyes of Yahweh. People don't bring up stuff like this, like his forefather Dawid, but it goes back to Dawid. He removed the prostitutes from the land and removed all the idols that his forefathers had made. I see a connection of how a lot of these men and women of God operated, man. It's like today, we have a lot of tolerance when dealing with this. Even when me changing the subject a little bit, even when we dealing with the people of the Most High in the Old Testament, when they was fighting for what the Most High had established for them, they fought. We don't see that much like that in the New Testament for, I think, political and controlling reasons and things like that. I'm not trying to go far, but I'm trying to show a difference here. He removed the prostitutes from the land and removed all the idols that his forefathers had made, that his forefathers had made. This isn't to say to go out and start kicking people out your house and all this. I'm not saying that, but it's a level of tolerance that we're allowing now. It's a level of being complacent or comfortable in the scenario that you're at. We're going to see that later on in Kings, the difference, and we're going to also see the consistency. There we go. The consistency of how they operated. I think Brother Orech or Brother Yediyah brought out when we started in Bereshit or Genesis, when Abraham, when we had brought the book of Yashar, how Abraham acted towards his mom and his dad when they had idols. What did he do? We saw that with Yaakov, I believe it was, when Rachel and Leah, I believe, correct me, y'all. I'm good for being corrected. Had idols. What he did. So we see it's a consistency of how the men/women of Elohim operated when these idols and things was being implemented. That's a part of that culture that was against the Most High. And that's what we're seeing with Asa right here. He removed the prostitutes from the land and removed all the idols that his forefathers had made. And even his grandmother, Ma'akah, he disposed from being a queen, for she had made an abomination unto an Asherah tree. Asa chopped up the abomination and burned in the Kidron Valley. Okay, last thing I'm going to read verse 14. Shout out to Sister Hakma with the question or the thought when I read this probably. I'm trying to do what you did, y'all did on this. But they did not take away the high places. Nevertheless, Asa's heart was whole with Yahweh all his days. All his days. We don't hear this. We hear the Solomon or the Shlomo, which I think is a funny name, by the way. We hear the Dawid. We hear the Daniel. We hear the Job, the Enoch. I mean, not the Enoch, the Noah. But we don't hear big time on Asa's heart was whole with Yahweh all his days. And that's what I like to bring out. I want to read verse 17, and then I want to read verse 23. And this is going to pinpoint what Yedidiah and Brother Odak was bringing out. Yedidiah brought out in his chapter. What did he bring it out at? I forgot what verse. But I know he brought it out. I don't know what verse. Maybe he could jump in. But I know Odak brought out in verses 7 through 14. No, 7 through 15 was pinpointing verse 16 through 23. I'm not going to read all of it, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but it says there was a warfare between Asa and Baasa, which I thought was funny too. His name is kind of close. The king of Israel all their days. Baasa, king of Israel, attacked Yehudah or Judah and built up Ramah in order to prevent Asa, king of Yehudah, from leaving or entering. I want to jump down to verse 23. It says, all the rest of the deeds of Asa. No, that's not what I want to jump down to. Where am I at? Well, I know, what, how you say his name? Baasa was that person, if I'm not mistaken, that the Most High used to do what he had prophesied. Am I right, fellas, before I continue? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, when you go down further,
it's going to bring that out, right? Okay, yeah. So we go down to verse 25. I'll go ahead and finish it off. Yeah. So verse 25 it says, Nabat, son of Jeroboam, became king over Israel in the second year of Asa, king of Yehudah of Judah, and he reigned over Israel for 2 years. He did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah. He went in the path of his father and his sins, by which he calls Israel to sin. That goes back to what I'm saying. Create that foundation so those after you have a better probability of following in what you put out there. Verse 27, but Asa, son of Achiah of the house of Issachar, conspired against him, and Baasa struck him down at Gibbethon of the Philistines, while Nadab and all Israel were besieging Gibbethon. Baasa killed him in the 3rd year of Asa, king of Yehudah, and reigned in his place. So this was that prophecy. It happened in verse 29. I want to keep going because I want to make sure we're reading all that the Most High had prophesied. It happened that when he became king, he struck down the entire house of Jeroboam. That was prophecy. He did not leave a soul in the house of Jeroboam until he had now annihilated it according to the word of Yahuwah. So that's all I wanted to really bring out for this chapter. I wanted to bring out the prophecy that the Most High had told or said will take place. And I wanted to bring out Asa, King Asa's lifestyle and according to the scripture where it says he gave him, his heart was whole with Yahuwah all his days. And I believe that is very important. You will fall sometimes, but it's your heart, it's your conscience. What is your conscience at? What is your mind? As your mind whole in the Most High all the days of your life? I think that's important. That's all I got.
Good stuff, brother. You hit a lot of good points. I just want to quickly just say a couple things. It reads a little differently in the Stone edition, in the translation that you're using, but I wanted to repeat 4 in this edition, and maybe Yedidiah tell me what it's saying, KJV. It said, but for the David's sake, Yahweh his Elohim gave him a lamp in Jerusalem to raise up his son after him and by establishing Jerusalem. Okay. It said in your edition, gave him authority or something like that, or something like that, along those lines, I thought.
It says in my edition says it was only for David's sake that Yahweh, his God, had given him dominion in
Dominion.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know, when I saw that word lamp, something kind of went off in my head. Maybe I was looking too deep into stuff I don't want to be reaching. So I'm going to kind of leave it alone. I was going to bring up Asa, being perfect in his, his heart. As I've seen as far as being buried where their father was, I've seen it all throughout these scriptures. And I told you I'm going to skim over this real quick because you hit a lot of points. The prophecy being fulfilled. Oh, the fact that they was talking about things being done and they being recorded in the book of Annals. All right? We don't have those books, so I haven't seen those books. The rest of their things is being done here or there. So it's some events that took place that's not even, according to our Bible. We see this coming, we see this in our own word, telling us this other books that stuff is recorded in. So we have to, not always knock, maybe another book that come across that might have some events in there, as long as it doesn't contradict the word, because the word tells you this is written in this book. Now, this is just face value for what the Tanakh says. Now, I don't want to go deep and say, well, maybe they added that in there. I don't want to go down that road because I probably can't prove whether or not they added that or not, just off the whim. But as far as it being what I see from Scripture, as far as what they said was wrote down in Scriptures, not talking about added verses later on and stuff like that, they said it was, just like the book of Jasher. This is just like a recorded in the book of Jasher, Some of these kings' things and things that they did was wrote in different books, and they continue to say this, and they will continue to say this throughout these books. That's all I have. Yeah.
All right, so just to address the whole verse, in the KJV it says lamp as well. The word is actually, in the Hebrew, is near, which is lamp. And it's a noun, it's masculine, and in that construct is figurative. So, that's just a little insight on that word. So it's figurative to a lamp. So wherever you was going, it might still be plausible because it's figurative speech. So, I wouldn't negate whatever you was going to say just because you think you thinking too deep. I would like to hear what you have to say. But that's the facts on the word. So, they might have put, dominion because figuratively to them a lamp means dominion. But, to others that might not be what that means. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway,
we want to be
well,
close as possible to the meaning that they put down. So I agree with y'all. This rendition of that word a little bit off. I think the light is probably better for this particular scripture or verse. So yeah, I agree.
And we find that happens in every translation that we've ever read. So nobody's saying that any translation is perfect. We're not. And this is one thing that anybody that knows us, we know we're not even going to promote a certain thing to tell you, oh, this is perfect, because we see problems where people will render a word the way they feel to be best. And as we see, it's like, I don't know about that. But, it's not, you got to read some type of something until we get to the point where we can translate it from the script into our own brain and and kind of dissect that thing in our head. But until then, hey, we gotta do something. Gotta read something. So it's not to knock anything. But so according to that script, that verse, okay, he's gonna. Let me go back to the verse. And basically, he say because of David's sake, he was gonna have a lamp in Jerusalem, and it is figurative. He's gonna raise up a son to be a lamp in Jerusalem. Who is that son? Did he come yet? I just want to make sure we ain't past something because I'm going somewhere with this, and I don't want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm not wrong. Was he talking about Solomon, or he talking about somebody to come? When I read it, I thought he was talking about somebody to come, but it's. Go ahead.
Nah, if you look at it in context, it say you go back to 1 and say, now in the 18th year of King Jeroboam the son of Nebat reigned Abijam over Judah. 3 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and his mother was named Ma'ahiah, the daughter of Abishalom. So Brother Shema hit that, and it said, and he walked in all the sins of his father. So we see that he was a wicked king, and he walked in sin, which he had done before him. And his heart was not perfect with the Most High, his God, as the heart of David, his father. So he's comparing, again, we keep seeing this comparison of David and these wicked kings. He said, nevertheless, for David's sake did the Lord, his God, give him a lamp in Jerusalem.
So basically, nevertheless,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So nevertheless, for David's sake, it's still somebody that will come up and shine or be a light in Jerusalem.
So
is that like
give would be, I would have to look at that word to see if it's in perfect or imperfect tense. If it's in perfect tense, then that means it was established then. So it's like the act is already complete at that moment.
If it's perfect,
so it's past
right?
tense.
Right. But if it's imperfect,
go ahead.
If it's imperfect, then that would mean it hasn't, or it's in the process. Right.
Right. So.
And that can actually mean, I'm glad you just said ongoing. There's a twofold to that, possibly. Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. That can be something that's in the process for future tense to take place, or that could be ongoing, meaning he's continuing to put someone in that in different times per se. Meaning, like, first it was Solomon, then it was Asa, then it's a continuing thing. That's another way
this right here happened.
to look at it.
When he said that, then later on you see Asa.
Right. Right. And I'm sure
so in the immediate context, he gave him a lamp, meaning like he gave him, I guess it could, like, you know what I'm saying, when you look at it, like authority.
Yeah,
to me, he gave it to him. Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right. We got like 90 seconds, and we're going to go just a little bit into overtime. So if you're listening online, it's 516-595-8238. I'm sorry, lady was in my ear. We got about 60 seconds left. I don't mean to cut y'all off. It's 516-595-8238. If you're listening online, you call in because we're only going to go a couple minutes over since we're done with the verses. And we're just jumping on some things. So y'all go ahead and continue. I ain't mean to cut you off, but had to kind of put that out there.
She must have gotten in your ear, huh?
Sure did.
Man. Okay. Yeah.
And I almost hung up my phone. But, we just see in immediate context, we see that it's saying that he gave when you give somebody something, that means you gave it to them, like, and then it's already done. So I'm thinking that this is in the perfect tense.
Yep.
That's
a perfect tense in my thought. Can you explain to the listeners, because this is what we're going to be doing, you all. Can you explain to them what perfect means and imperfect? I actually put a post up about imperfect the other day, but can you explain to them so they know exactly what you're talking about?
Okay, so grammatically correct speaking, in grammar, well, more so the Hebrew grammar, these are the terms that are used. So perfect, which is funny because in this, I think in the verse,
Oh, I know where you're going with it.
It says his heart was perfect, but in his version it says whole.
Yes.
Or that word also means it means whole, it means full, or basically is indicating some completion.
Mm-hmm.
So what we would say is past tense. That means something happened and it already happened, it's finished. Like if, violence came in my mind. All right, so I don't want to use that example. Like if I said, I beat Shema in basketball.
Which will never happen. Go ahead.
I beat Shema. That means me and Shema played. The game is over. It's complete.
Mm-hmm.
And I won. But if I said I'm beating Shema or I'm winning, that means the game is still going, but the fact of me winning is not, or me beating Shema or have won the game is not definite yet. It hasn't been it's not a completed action. It's not a completed thought.
Which makes it imperfect. Which makes it imperfect.
Imperfect. That means, so that wouldn't be a perfect statement to say, well, because I'm winning, I won. Shema could come back and hit a couple threes and beat me. Then that statement would be an imperfect statement because I lied when I said I won because I was winning. So that's kind of a way to look at it. But
so to sum it up, if you would allow me to sum it up, because I like I put a post up about imperfect, those that are friends with me on Facebook. So to sum it up, perfect is completed, it's whole, it's done, it happened. Okay? Well, I like what you just brought out with the verse 3. Whole heart. He his heart was not whole, or go back to the side, it says his heart was whole all the day, so it was complete in the Most High. It was fixated. It was finished on the Most High. Take away that finished word. So perfect is complete, whole, done, finished. Imperfect is ongoing, still happening, has not completed yet. Happening. That's what imperfect is. So just wanted to put that out, you all, for some Hebrew grammar.
Right. So I don't see no future. I don't see
original.
no future thing. I think that lamp figuratively is saying, because it said, Yah, his God, gave him. So that's a completed action. He gave him a lamp. That lamp represents something which, according to the renderance of the stone, would be,
well, that could have been
that dominion
Solomon, though,
to set up his son after him and to establish Jerusalem. So the son that came after him, to me, is Asa.
Was Solomon. Oh, I thought I thought it was Solomon because he the one that established the kingdom. Like he built the and then said that, you know what I'm saying, he started to establish these things. But okay, I see where you're going.
Well, I'm saying in the immediate context, that's what it seemed like to me because, let's see, let me see. And he walked because the immediate conversation is about Abijam ruling over Judah, but he wicked. And it's saying that he didn't walk. So he's talking about that current situation. Whoever the narrator of this story is talking about the current situation. His heart wasn't perfect. Nevertheless, for David's sake, he gave him a lamp. The him has to point back to the subject, which is Abijam. Because he was the subject of the conversation. So that's why I say that. Just using, the sentence structure and all these things that apply to it, breaking it down. But that him that he gave a lamp to has to be Abijam, which is, because it just said he reigned over Judah. So that reign pointing back with this lamp thing, which is reign is dominion. So I could see why they put that there in Jerusalem to set up. So it wasn't really because of him, it was because the person that came after him was actually walked in his ways. Unless I'm tripping, I don't know.
Right. No, that makes sense because the whole thing is about context. You know what I'm saying? The context is talking about, reigning and kingdoms and stuff like that and what's going on and who is sovereign and, why they became it and why it got torn from them. That's what this whole thing is about. So and it would have to be someone in the form of some kind of king, or to me it would be on some form of some kind of king that can continue on this this cycle only by the sake of David. Like, okay, yeah, he was evil.
Well, because I think the promise of David, he told him, if you walk in my ways, this is what I'm going to do. And it said that David did walk in his ways, but then after Solomon each one, the Most High made a covenant with that one. And he was like, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. So that's what I'm noticing, too, that each king, the Most High made an agreement with, a covenant. This a little inside with Shema, a contract.
Yeah, man.
And they signed their name on their contract by either not saying nothing or whatever, and they was vowed to the terms of that covenant. So when they didn't abide by that, they fell under the judgment of that contract with the Most High. So he had to fulfill his side of the deal or the agreement with Dawid because he did what he was supposed to do. So for the sake of that contract, that original contract with Dawid, he still allowed somebody to sit in that, that reign, but it was only because of that, for the sake of Dawid's contract, because that carried on. But then if you see, like I say,
and that's the Judah thing. That's the reason why the Judah, because Solomon broke it, and Solomon broke it. His son after that broke it. So it's like, all right, I ripped it from being one kingdom as far as it could have stayed as one kingdom, but now because somebody broke the contract, I keep my side with Dawid from these two. But you know what I'm saying? It's turmoil in the other ones, and y'all gonna fight each other.
Right. So, and then even this is my last thing, I'm going to close out, but just to help people with context, how to actually figure out what's going on, when you keep reading, you go to 8, it said, and Abijam, so we go back to the subject of the matter. Abijam slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David, and Asa, his son, reigned in his stead. And then we seen what Asa did. He actually fulfilled what he said right here, and to establish Jerusalem, because David did which was right in the eyes of the Lord, and he turned not aside from anything that he commanded him all the days of his life, save only the matter of Uriah the Hittite. You know, and there was still war going on. And then after he passed, Asa came and reigned in his stead. And then he started kind of cleaning up things. But we see that didn't last too long. As with my last point,
so
down in
go ahead.
33, I just wanted to say that even though Baasha came and fulfilled that prophecy, which that prophecy was in 1 Kings 14:10, by the way. Even though he fulfilled that prophecy spoken, he, it said in 34, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord and walked in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin. So again, we see that these kings are causing the people to sin, like these wicked kings. And that's all I really want.
So let me ask you this question real quick. So basically, the Most High said, I'm finna raise someone up to tear off. Okay, who knocked off Jeroboam's whole lineage? That was Asa, right?
Baasha.
Okay, Baasha knocked off the whole lineage, right? So he raised up someone that was going to initially be wicked to do his bidding.
Yep.
I just wanted to point that out, that this guy that he raised up to take over was not righteous.
But he
Sexual chocolate, drops the mic.
Did something to fulfill. He was wicked, but he was wicked for the sake of fulfilling his prophecy.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, even though he was, well, let me say it like this. Even though he was wicked, he was able to be used to fulfill a prophecy.
And guess what? He was a Mashiach. He was anointed. He was an anointed wicked dude. A wicked Mashiach.
Hey, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Because it say, according unto the saying of the Lord, which he has spoke by his servant, which we say Ahijah. But we know that's not the original pronunciation. But the Shilonite. Because, as I read before, because of the sin of Jeroboam, which he sinned. So, you know, this was just something that had to come to pass. We see it came to pass. We don't know how many years between this, or months or days, whatever, that this happened, because we just reading the account. But, and we don't have no specifics on the timeline. But we know it happened. I mean, if we go through, we can see how long each person reigned. So we could kind of do it like that to get a roundabout figure, you know. But we see that it wasn't a long span of time that these prophecies is happening. Even the fact that he said, you know, he gave them to be a lamp, whatever, you know. We see that these things are happening in sequence. So that's something I'm noticing too. I haven't came across yet where it was like, this is this, and then we haven't seen it. And then we just steady waiting for it to happen. I've been seeing that like a few chapters over, or, you know, in the next book, this stuff is coming to pass. I don't know. That's from my standpoint, my viewpoint. I don't know how y'all feel about it.
Like I said, I ain't seen one yet that ain't came to pass. So, or I'll have to go back and maybe look at some things. But I see they say this was gonna happen to you, and it happens to them. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's been so quick too. They was able to see the word of the Most High come into fruition, not You know what I'm saying? Something 1,000 years, 2,000, 100 or 200 years later. That's what I'm seeing.
Shema.
No, I agree with you all. I'm listening, man. Sometimes you gotta listen. That's what Shema means. Somebody told me that when they were talking.
I mean, I just want to hear your opinion on it,
Okay.
Cool. I know you were sitting back and listening, bro. Getting you involved.
He brought that up.
Huh?
That was a little subtle jab on Shema. You know, Shema mean to listen.
I know you got it, man. I ain't got nothing else. Who else had to go?
That was all I had. You was the last person. I went. You was the last person. So, without further ado, if nobody has anything that they want to add and nobody's in the queue, we don't have. I don't have nothing else to say. We can do closing remarks, and I can start out with mine and then go down the line the same way we had the chapter. So, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Like we said, we have the YouTube page up. YHWH has been putting up the episodes. He's been doing a good job at that. Go check it out. Subscribe. You'll be able to post stuff. I mean, as far as, share the YouTube page or the episodes that way, it's easier to find them than to try to find them through Blog Talk. We had avenues as far as the Facebook group, His Tall Ones. Then we have also His Tall Ones Talk, the radio group, just exclusively for the radio. If you are one of the listeners that listen online, you can, ask to be added and we'll add you, but this is usually exclusively for what we talked about on the show and questions and stuff along that matter, and that's what we kind of use that. Like I said, I have my individual email, Orekdin at Yahoo, OREKADIYN at Yahoo, and I can't remember. YHWH had set up another email. I'll let him spit that out. That's for us as a group. So there's just little things that y'all can just, reach out to us. Let us know how you think about some of the shows, input and stuff like that. Just holler at us. But other than that, just thank everybody for tuning in. And shalom.
Shalom, shalom. It's Brother YHWH, a.k.a. Jedediah. Government name, Darrell McCutcheon. Hey, so I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Didn't hear much out of Brother Mercy. This is the first time Brother Mercy actually did not hit the one. So, that's all good. I guess he didn't have much to say. He wanted to sit back and listen like Brother Shema wanted to do a while ago. I just really appreciate the support from Brother Mercy. He's always here and always chiming in, but today he just supported by listening. So that's cool. I think this is King Ray on there on the switchboard too, man. I want to give a little shout out to him for tuning in, and everybody else that tuned in. It's highly appreciated from us. We actually, and I just want to just give a little praise to the Most High for the increase. We had the last 7 days, I think it was like 50-something listens. So, I just want to thank the Most High for that, that increase. It's a lot more than what we've had in the past. And it seemed like, we're growing as a unit, and we're getting a lot more listeners, and, that's always good. So, the brother already talked about, the YouTube. We got all the shows up that we've had so far, except for, of course, this one, because it's not finished, and the first one. because I started at the second show, so I haven't got around to putting the first show on yet. I'm going to try to get around to that, and I'm going to try to get this one up before next show. So, but, yeah, we got all the other ones on there, so you could search us on YouTube, His Talk Ones Talk Radio. Everything is His Talk Ones Talk Radio. So the email is His Talk Ones Talk Radio @gmail.com. The Facebook group, you search groups, His Talk Ones Talk Radio. So everything is fashioned to His Talk Ones Talk Radio. So, you know, if you just keep that in mind, you'll be able to find us wherever. And that's all I have. Shalom.
Shalom, everyone. This is Shema Dalamido. I want to thank all of you that listened in. I think this show was pretty good I think all the shows we do are pretty good, actually, but this show is pretty good. What I do want to recommend is those that's listening, those 53 people that he called out, we appreciate you. We love you for tuning in. We ask that you share these shows. You know, bring people that you might think could benefit from it or add to it. But also go on YouTube, find these videos that the brother is taking the time out to put together. He's doing a wonderful job. And subscribe to the channel. That is big. Subscribe to the channel because I believe the number is 100. If we get 100 subscribers or subscriptions, then we're able to change the actual name of the URL can actually be His Talk Ones Talk Radio. Right now, I don't believe, he can correct me if I'm wrong, that we are able to have a URL, custom-made URL. We have to have 100.
We got 3 subscribers, and I'm one of them. So,
right. So I'm gonna make sure I subscribe as well, but we need to get those subscriptions up so we can. It'll be a lot easier when we're passing information out as far as the YouTube channel is concerned for people to just type it in. You know, I mean, they can actually put in a search box, but it'll just be more simple. And in order for it to be more simple, we need 100 subscribers. Also, my email is Shema, SHAMA, Talamido, TALMIDO @yahoo.com. I think it is important that we give out our individual email too, so I commend Orderek for that. So that way, if any of the listeners want to directly contact us, that can be a way, an avenue of doing so. And if you have any comments or anything for the group in total, the panelists in total, please email us at, I believe he said, His Talk Ones Talk Radio @gmail. And that could be something for us collectively. Any comments, anything, any encouragement, any prayers you might want us to do for you and or your family, please do so in that fashion as far as that email. Lastly, I want to say we had a topic last week on the Rest Show, and I'm going to talk to you there, y'all, but I'm going to say this, and let me know what you think. I want to send this to Orek, which I'm going to do, and Brother Mercy. I don't know if you're still on. Let me see. Is he still on? I'm not by my computer right now. Is he still on?
Yeah, he's still on there.
Okay. I want to send it to Brother Mercy, too, just to see his take on it. We had a deep conversation, man. The vision. I don't want to continue doing. I want to continue doing these studies, which is what we need to do to get understanding culturally, get understanding contextually, and language-wise as well. But that vision topic is something that we've been talking about, dealing with for a while now, and I think we're at a point where we can actually put something together. So I talked to you there, Yah, about some things that I'm going to send, like I said, Orek and probably Brother Mercy as well, just to get their Mercy and Orek. Did you read any of it, you did, Yah? Did you get a chance to or no? It sounded like you did because you brought up that contract part. Or you just had a good memory. Hello?
Can you hear me? Yeah,
now
I was
we
on
can.
mute. I was on mute. Yeah, I read some of it. That's why I did the little insider. Actually, that's why I was like a few minutes. Nobody else knew, but I was a few minutes late to the show because I looked up. I was reading it, and I looked up. Oh, it's time for the show. So, yeah.
Right. Okay, so this is what I'm going to send it to Brother Mercy and Brother Odette. I want them to check out, and maybe we can all get a conference. So, Brother Mercy, reach out to us on Facebook, or I'll just write your number down and then send you a text. Maybe we can all get on board and just trade our thoughts on what I'm presenting, and this ties into that vision. This ties into it. So I really want to see what we can do in the future, man. We got to write this stuff down. Sister Hakma said it. Brother Mercy spoke on it. Orek already speaking on it. And we all collectively, I think that this is something that can take place. And I'm speaking on this because it's been on my heart since last Shabbat. I've been every day at work, every day throughout the day, thinking about this and going even harder on what I want to bring out in the near future as to my contribution in making this happen. So I'm just putting it out there. And that's all I got. So those that's listening, those 53 listeners out there, if you can, man, just give us your input. Come on the Facebook page, the His Talk One's Talk Radio, and give us some of your thoughts, your comments, any ideas you might have. Make sure you do that. If you want to talk to any one of us individually, send us an email. If you want to talk to us collectively and not on the Facebook group, then send us an email at histalkonestalkradio@gmail.com. Let's move forward, you all. We're doing that with the understanding of the scriptures, but let's build together, as a family. Mishpacha, let's do this. This is what the Most High, I believe, want us to be as. He does that all through the scriptures. Achad, want us to be one in the unity, in thought and in character and in walk. So that's all I have. I don't know if he wanted me to close out in prayer. I don't know if anybody had anything else to say. Anybody that's listening, did you have anything to say? You are free to press 1. And if not, then we're just going to go ahead and pray out.
Go ahead and pray out, Shema.
All right. Everybody clear your minds, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another Shabbat. We thank you for another opportunity to allow you to pour down your Spirit and your understanding to open the minds of those that wrote down your thoughts, your instructions, your ways. We ask that you allow us to be a vessel, a pawn in your will, in your design for those that's to come after us in the future, to get closer to your plan. We ask that you look over those that are less fortunate. We ask that you look over those that are searching for you and just don't have the resources or the understanding how to utilize the resource to grasp what it is you desire of us. We ask that you allow us to be that vessel for those that are having that problem. We love you. We appreciate you. We ask that you cover us leading up to this next Shabbat so that we can fellowship again together and so we can continue to grow together and continue to be one mind and sound mind and to just help our hearts and our conscience, our mind to grow closer towards you and to be in one spirit. We ask that you do not take your spirit away from us and that you continue to let it be within us. We appreciate you. We love you. We ask these things in your holy name. Amen.